Hey, I want to ask you a question. Do you have a dream? Do you have a dream today, a dream in your heart, something that God has given you, some word, some vision, some picture of what God wants to do in your life? God has a special dream for each one of us. God has a special dream for each one of us of something that God puts in your mind, puts in your heart, that is some kind of word, some kind of a vision. So do you have something that God has given you, a word from the Word about your life? I believe that God has that for each one of us. You say, well, why do you believe that? I believe that for a couple of reasons. Number one, God is a purposeful God. God is a purposeful God. The Bible says in Proverbs 16, verse 4, the Lord has made everything for its own purpose. Everything God does has a purpose and has a plan behind it, has a reason for it. Everything God makes, and every one God makes, God has a purpose and a plan for that one. It's a different plan. God's plan for me is not the same as God's plan for you. And God has a purpose and a plan for your life and for mine.
All of us have things that we're believing for, something that we want to accomplish. Deep down, we know it's a part of our destiny. We can feel it so strongly, but then we hit some setbacks. We didn't get the promotion. The medical report wasn't good, or a relationship didn't work out. Life has a way of pushing our dreams down. They can become buried under discouragement, buried under past mistakes. There are dreams buried under divorce, buried under low self-esteem. And it's easy to settle for mediocrity even though we have all this potential buried on the inside. But just because you gave up doesn't mean God gave up. Your dream may be buried. The good news is it's still alive. It's not too late to see it come to pass. And we've all been through disappointments and setbacks, and life happens. But instead of remembering the hurt, the pain, what didn't work out, the key to reaching your destiny is you have to remember your dream. Remember what God promised you. Remember what He whispered to you in the middle of the night. The Scripture calls it the secret petitions of our heart. Things you haven't told anybody about. It may seem impossible. Every voice tells you it's not going to happen. You've been pushing it down, but God is saying, what I promised you, I'm still going to do. I spoke it to you. It may not have happened yet, but I am true to my word. It is on the way. If you'll do your part and start believing again, get your passion back, God is going to resurrect what you thought was dead.
God always fulfills the dream in His time. In His time. It's not in your time. It's in His time. And what is God's time? God's time is always later than our time. Always later. God fulfills the dream in His time. So what do we need to do? Keep fanning the flames of your dream. Keep fanning the flames of your dream. If God has told you something and given you a word, then you hold on to that word. I don't care what the circumstances say. You hold on to that. And you fan the flame of that. And you say, yeah, but God promised. But God promised.
When you try to dream a big dream, delays are going to come. Disappointment is going to come. There's going to be delays from life. There's going to be disappointment from people. And there's going to be discouragement from your own heart. Your own heart is going to feel discouraged. Your own heart is going to feel like it lets itself down and you've let yourself down. Your own heart is going to feel like giving up. Your own heart is going to get weary. But we got to believe that we will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Believe you're going to see His goodness. You know, as soon as you start to dream, as I said, you're going to have delays. You're going to have disappointments. You're going to have discouragement. And you're even going to have a fourth thing. You're going to have detours. Life is not a straight line. Take the detour. It's okay. God can make it up to you. Well, if I take this detour, I'm not going to make it there. Well, if you don't take the detour, you're going off a cliff. Take the detour. Road closed. Don't take closed doors as God closing the door. Take closed doors as God wanting to open a better one.
You may not understand why a business didn't make it, why a person walked away, why you came down with an illness. You were doing the right thing, but the wrong thing happened. It's all a part of the process. Every disappointment, every delay, every closed door, it's not just a setback, it's a setup for God to get you to where you're supposed to be. And it may be taking a long time, may look impossible. All it takes is one touch of God's favor. What are you remembering? The hurt, the pain, what didn't work out? Turn it around and remember your dream. What has God put in your heart? What did you used to be excited about? Now you think it's been too long, it's too big, it's not possible. You don't think you could write the book, finish school, see a marriage restored, start the business. No, get your passion back. You have not missed your opportunity. You have not had too many bad breaks. You're not lacking. You didn't get shortchanged. When God breathed life into you, He put in you everything you need to fulfill your destiny. People can't stop you. Bad breaks, disappointments, loss, the Most High God is on your side. You have royal blood flowing through your veins. There are seeds of greatness in you right now. Dreams so big that you can't accomplish them on your own. It's going to take you connecting with your Creator, believing that you're a person of destiny, that He's directing your steps, that if He be for you, who dare be against you?
God has given you resources and talents, and the gifts that He's given you is enough in seed form. They may have to be developed. They may have to be coached. They may have to be mentored. Somebody may have to show you who you really are and help you bring out some of the gifts. But if God gave you the dream, the talent, the gifting is not in somebody else, it's in you. It should be an indication. Your gifts, your talents, your desire should be an indication of the dream that God has for you. I believe when God gives you a dream, He gives you what you need to fulfill that dream. The talent, the skill, the ability. You've got what you need to get the dream going. It's not in somebody else. It's in you. Well, if they had noticed me, if they had given me a break, if that person would give me that, if that person would open up that door, if that person would do this for me, then I could do it. God's going to birth your dream not by somebody else's gifts and talents, but even when you feel like you don't have it, you don't know what you have if God put it in you. And when you compare yourself to other people, you insult your Creator. When you compare and say, I wish I was that person, I wish I had that, I wish I could do that, I wish I had that talent. I'm telling you today that God said when He gave you the dream, He gave you the talent and the ability. And that's why you need Him. Without Him, you can do nothing. God says, I'm not going to use somebody else's gifts. I even thought about how that we get to a place in our life where the gifts that we have, we don't even recognize how powerful they are. Sometimes you have to say to yourself, I've got it. I've got it. I can do this. I've got it. By His grace, I've got it. I can, Paul said. I can do all things. There it is. Through Christ who strengthens somebody else, me.
God created every single one of us, and God gave us the personality He gave us, and God gave us the physical characteristics that He gave us. God did that. He saw you when you were being formed in your mother's womb. God is the God who created us. God is the God who sees us. God sees you. He cares for you. He created you. He sees you. He cares for you. He loves you. He loves you. He has something special for your life, a special and wonderful plan. I like what Herbert Banks Jr. had to say. He has this famous quote, "Believe it or not, you are a real find, a joy in someone's heart. You're a jewel, unique and priceless." How do I know? Because God don't make no junk. Isn't that good? God don't make no junk. So you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And God has a plan for you. Dream is not dead. Hey, keep fanning the flame of your dream. And what God has promised, God will fulfill. And then keep believing God for big things, because God's a big God. God does business with those who mean business. God does business with those who mean business. If you want God to plant something in your heart for your life to make an impact on this world for His glory and for your good, ask Him for it. I have a placard in my office and it says this: pray big. Pray big, because God's a big God. Ephesians 3:20, now to Him who is able to do exceeding abundantly beyond all that we ask or think, according to the power that works within us, to Him be the glory. God is a big God. God is a good God. Don't give up. Delight yourself in the Lord. He'll give you the desires of your heart.
Don't be intimidated. If the dream that God has given you is bigger than you think you're capable of, you're going to find out sooner or later that God says, if there's a giant between you and the dream, I can handle the giant. I can handle the need. I can handle and I can give you all that you need. I'm on my way to my dream. I'm going to be mighty in God. I am not through. I am not finished. I am not settling. I am moving forward.